Ever wonder how to buy a house in the villages? It's a little different than everywhere else when you try to buy a house. And I will give you some tips on how to purchase in the villages. And it's different than in your local neighborhood if you are not living in the villages. So let's get to it. So you want to get a house in the villages. You've been there. I'm assuming that you've taken the time to visit and you've decided that that's where you want to buy. Now, I've been through this experience in 2021, so I want to share my experience. Make sure that you visited at least once to know what is the basic concept. The place is big, so you need to know some really critical things before you are going to buy. Hopefully, you understand what the villages are, or is. It's a 55 plus community, really based on retirees, and it has some interesting town squares, some pools, some rec centers that make it much more interactive with your neighbors. So the first thing to know, what is a little bit different, and you want to make sure you know what you can afford. And the reason I say that is because you have your mortgage. Maybe you don't have a mortgage, but you need to know that number. Unlike other places, there's a separate bond that helps build the infrastructure in your neighborhood and in the villages. And that is a lot like a mortgage that is tacked on in addition to the purchase price. So if you see a house for sale, you need to inquire about what the bond is. Bonds usually at the moment, depending on the size of your home, there's different bond amounts. They're usually in the $20,000 range that's tacked on for your house's contribution to the infrastructure that's required. Then there's the utilities, gas, electric, cable. Water is not only in the house you're drinking water, but irrigation system. So on top of that, you really got to think about lawn care and pest control. Those other kind of things. But know what you can afford, I think, is the first thing. And know what your Social Security, pensions, all that's going to contribute. I'm not going to go over that. You need to make sure you know that before you start this process. It'll become apparent by the end of the video why you need to know that. Is if you're not ready, you're not going to be in the game. It's a game. It is a fight for a given type of property. You most likely will need a village's sales rep, and they're great, but they're different than your regular real estate agent that is kind of like, we have Century 21 and other real estate agents where I live, and they share the sales commission if one lists it, and that still goes on for the older properties, but it doesn't necessarily work that way for when buying directly from the villages. So you may need to figure out who you want as your village's rep. Once you know all of those things, it's going to be really apparent that you need to know some basics. When moving from one state to Florida, the type of home you want. Now, the type of home, we're not talking, traditional, modern. We're not talking that type of home. We're talking about structurally. Do you want a block home? You want prefab tilt-up concrete walls? Do you want the normal kind of studded aluminum-sided home? Those are really your three basic homes that you're going to get to pick from. And clearly the block is more expensive than the traditional frame home. And so if you have an opinion of which one you want, then you need to identify that early on in the process. The second part is you need to go to the Villages app, which I recommend highly. The Villages app is going to help you get through this process. The next thing I would do is go through the type of homes that they sell. Now, why I'm doing this is because existing homes get listed, sometimes through a regular real estate agent, sometimes through the Villages, and they appear to be going for more than, say, a comparable value of a brand new home. And this will be up to your judgment and in what neighborhood you want to be in. But I think you need to look at how much square footage do you want? What size garage do you want? Do you want a separate golf cart garage? You got to look at all of those factors and the layout of the home. High ceiling, not high ceiling, open concept, not open concept. Where's the dining room? Is there a nook? 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1 bath. You really need to look at those items. And those will also go with your budget. You're probably not going to get into a designer home with a very low income amount that you're going to pay, because those homes are going for $450,000, $500,000, $1 million. Okay, those are much higher. Then you've got your villas that start a little over $200 at the time of this video. You got your cottage homes that make up this other category between $275 and $350, and it depends on the lot. When you get into designer homes, you're picking out a lot that could be $18,000 or it could be $100,000 before you even start your home. On these other ones that are built by the Villages and sold as they are finished, and I say finished, they have picked the flooring, they have picked what carpets are going in, they have picked what appliances are going in, what your sink's going to look like, what your showers are going to look like. They've configured these in such a way that they know what works, house next to house, how to configure them so that everybody's not looking in everybody's windows. They really know what they're doing. But you need to know the layout, the plan that you want. Do you want a villa? Can you live with 1,000 square feet? Do you need 2,000 square feet? You need to figure that out. Another thing I will tell you is, as you narrow what type of house you want, here comes the big one. Where in the Villages do you want to live? And I say that because if you pick near a town square that's been fully developed for years, if you pick an old area, there's not going to be new homes. But you're going to have a well-developed, you're going to know what the town square looks like and all the rest. If you pick in the southern end that's being developed now, it'll be a few years before some of those town squares or some of those areas and rec centers are completely built. But that can be an advantage. At first I thought, I don't want to be this far from my favorite town center. But after looking at it, if I could pick the house, the location to the nearest pool, restaurants, then maybe that's an advantage to have a brand new house and I don't have to have a pool at my house. Instead, I've got a pool within walking distance. For me, that was important. The direction of your house, what's north, what's south, what's going to get beat up by the sun, really you should know that. It's hot. You want maybe your lanai on the northern side so it gets shade. Maybe you're one who wants toasty year-round, you want it on the southern side. Understand the difference between corner lots and interior lots. I'm really flying here because I want to get to the point of how to buy one of these new homes. I was down there visiting, just looking, and the Villages realtor took us to a house that just went on the market. And all these other people are coming in and they're showing it. And it's like, do you want to buy it right now? And people had already bought it. A lot of times we showed up at the house and it was already sold. But it was a good exercise to know what the houses look like and how close they were and what the positioning and how that, whether we felt good about it or not. The realtor also took us to a house that had been recently built was in a neighborhood that was already had people in it, gives you a different feel. It gives you a feel of what is this going to be like when they're not all just homes that are empty and haven't been moved into. That was really a good point to really kind of, it was a good exercise, and I recommend that if you go down there, get a village realtor and have them take you around. Get into a community that's already going. Look at the community pool. Look at where the mailboxes are. Look at those things that you're going to deal with every day. So buying. Let's go to buying. If you need, usually you want to touch and feel and see it, it's probably not going to work out for you unless you live down there. And that's an option. You can rent somebody else's home that they haven't moved into yet, or somebody who it's off season and they're renting their home. You could rent while you do this process and be there to actually see the home. I didn't have that opportunity. I was down there, and so I did this from far away. And here is how you do it, which people don't really explain. I figured out what kind of home I wanted. I wanted a cottage home. I didn't want a designer home. I didn't want to go out and design. I didn't want a villa. They seemed too small, and I just didn't like how close they were. Some people, that's fine. Next, I looked at layouts, and there was a couple of styles that I liked. You look at some homes that come on the market. They come on the market each day. There are new homes that get posted. They get posted around midnight. So this is important to have the Villages app. This is not something you're going to do on Zillow or Realtor.com. You're looking for a specific home, specific neighborhood. You can sort the homes by that, but once you know what type of home, as they come on at midnight, I looked at my house I bought at midnight. It was there with a sketch, no pictures, but the description was the home I wanted. I knew the location. It shows you on a map where it is. It was in walking distance to the pool and rec area, and tennis courts, all of those things were right in the area. But I wasn't next to it, but I was near it. So I called the realtor first thing in the morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, hey, I found a listing. I'm interested. Can you show it to me? She went, filmed it, did a walkthrough via the phone, FaceTime, that kind of program. Looked at it. I liked the flooring. I liked the cabinets. The builders were in there putting in the appliances, and they showed me the appliances. I liked the appliances. The bedroom, master bath, 2-car garage, I liked it all. So this is what you have to be aware of. So as soon as you say you like it all and you want to buy it, you have 2 hours. You got 2 hours to make that choice. You need to put a deposit down. The realtor can write up the paperwork. I would say within 24 hours, you need to send a check, and a sizable check, to lock it in. So you really need to make sure you know what you're doing on the financial side. The other piece that's really important is buying a house like this, they give you 30 days to close. Now, you don't get to talk back and forth and say, oh, I'd like to do it 2 months from now, 3 months from now. Nope, 30 days. If you want to do it longer, they charge you a surcharge every day. So it's going to cost you more if you go longer. And I get it. You have other buyers that are going to take it and they're going to turn it over in 30 days. The Villages warranty is great as I see it so far. They meet with you when you buy the house. They walk you through. They set up, they tell you who to set up appointments with to check out how your appliances work, how your irrigation system work. But the key thing this is the key thing I don't think people really get. You need to be looped into that system. I've heard some other YouTubers talk about how they were there golfing and they had picked out a house that was being built that they really wanted because they were in the area, and they said, oh, I like this one next to this little pond. And the reason they got it is they got a realtor to know, this house, this is what I want, the exact location. and they get the phone call in that morning and get 2 hours to lock it in. So you just got to be ready to do that. If you wait to the end of the day, 90% will be sold. 90%. I saw very few that carried over more than 2 days. Very few that I ever saw that were on the market for 2 days. That's the demand that's already there. So the trick is, get your finances in order, know what you can afford, what you want to do, figure out where you want to be. And I would tell you, being in a new location with everybody else being new, you're going to have a lot in common. And with the new amenities and new restaurants being built, you will be near all of those things. If golf courses are important, where are you next to a golf course? That might be super important. One of the other things to do is not only do the aerial, the view on their map. Take out Google. You're not going to see the houses because they are built really, really quick. But do a Google Earth shot to kind of see the area. Know if you're next to a highway, a major roadway. Just check all those things out before you make that decision. I really think if you look into it and you're ready to go and you know that's where you want to go, then you just go ahead and do it. You just say, okay, this works. I think the normal procedure that most people are used to, they're going to miss the opportunities. Now, the lower price homes probably move quicker because a lot of people look at those as second homes. And I think if you understand that too, if it is your second home, it's not as low interest rate if you decide to borrow. It's going to be higher than a primary home. So just keep those things in mind. There's a lot of little hidden things that come up in the sense of if you need to borrow. And those are things you need to weigh ahead of time. You really need to get a handle at it. And I'm going to tell you this, don't go by these internet rates because it's always a low ball situation. By the time you get into it, it's never the rate. It's much higher. And it's usually pretty close to some other bank telling you what those rates are. So I'm just cautioning. Yeah, I fell for the whole online zippity doodah has a super low rate. No, they don't. So that's how I bought my house in the Villages. And I think it works that way. People who have the drive to go ahead and purchase there, they understand the system, or you have a great realtor that really understands everything you're looking for. Now, if you want a pool and other stuff, I say go designer home. Have it all done by the builder, the Villages builder and contractor from the start. It's probably worth it to go to the design center and design what you want. But pools are going to run the house at least $80,000 plus more. And when you add a bird cage and all the other amenities. But if you want that, you can get that. And you can get a bigger lot, but it's gonna cost a lot. And clearly prices are skyrocketing there with the movement of people leaving their bigger homes in the north, moving south, and as many baby boomers are retiring. So I just wanted to get this video. It's a little different than my other videos. Go down and get your Villages kit and you get to see everything. Newspapers, everything that they do. Over 100 clubs. Okay, and I'm not really, that's what sold me. I went to Margaritaville and some other 55 plus communities, but I liked how I could ride around in my golf cart to get to things and get my mail. I don't need to get in my car, and I can go get some food by my golf cart because I picked a place close enough to where restaurants are going to be. Those are the things you want to think about, and it's a different lifestyle, and it definitely is something to check out. Now, if you can do the lifestyle visit, but they're backed up like 3-4 months to get a lifestyle visit, which is you rent a home, then they give you a golf cart and a bicycle, and you get to, like you live there. You get to, a number of days, 3 or 4 days, testing it out. Be a great thing to do. I just never had time for it. So hopefully this was helpful in your purchases of the Villages, And thanks for watching.